Webby, as you know, it has evolved over time and they have added many new features. Search feature is one of those which they have added incrementally. And then since it's not one of the biggest, most exciting features, many a times I have come across with users and students who have missed that this feature has been added. They have not always tracked everything that was added. So in this session, what I plan to do was consolidate uh, all the search functions that you can use within Webby when you're using the Webby application. Everywhere you can use this search function. Because it just makes your life more easier to do the development when you know, okay, this is what I can use, especially when you have really big reports. So I'm not going to go through the slides. I've just listed some of them, listed the ones that I plan to show so that I don't forget. So I'm going to I'm going into the demo right away. All right. So I'm going to start with the search functions you can use in the query panel. Okay. So this is not a brand new feature in 4.3. This was introduced in somewhere in 4.2. That when you have the universe listed, the objects listed for the universe, when you're defining a query or editing a query, you can actually search for the objects by typing, say, customer, and then hit enter. So it looks like I don't have anything that matches that. So if I search for country, I have an object called country. Now, this is a training database, so I have very few folders and few objects, because usually in real world, you have so many folders and objects. It's much easier to just search for the name and then rather than scrolling to all the folders and keep expanding. And not only that, many times you will see that the person who designed the universe for you, they may have added country in a bunch of folders. Either it is by design on purpose, sometimes it may be by mistake. So you catch those things if you search for it and then see, okay, should I use this or should I use that? Maybe remove this to avoid any confusion. So it's a very good feature for your own ease of use, that, okay, you can simply start typing, and then the only difference between 4.2 search and 4.3 is that in 4.2, you could type, and as you type, it kept showing the list, reducing the list. But in 4.3, you have to type and hit enter to show. So I don't know why they took that away, but we have mentioned it that, okay, we want that constant, continuous reduction of the list. But yeah, you can definitely search for the objects here. And we always recommend that. Even in our trainings, we always encourage that you search for the object rather than navigating through the folders. Okay. And it also gives you much clarity, like what else you have. Like sometimes you may have country ID, country name, country code. And when you search for country, you kind of, you get to see what all options you have, if you have any associated details objects with them or not. So it kind of helps a little bit with that. Now, another thing I want to show you here, it's not exactly a search feature, but it's a technique you can use if you already don't know, to kind of look for an object easily, especially when you're editing an existing query. So if I click on segment, it takes me, the control takes me here and highlights the object in the list. So if you have a segment already in your list of objects and you want to add something similar to that, that can be in the same folder as segment, it takes you right there. Plus, it tells you which folder that object came from very easily without you having to even digging through the entire list. Unfortunately, that highlighting is not there in the query filter. I think I saw something in the recent one. Maybe no, maybe not. No, it's there actually. In the past versions, you could not, it did not highlight the object in the list when the object is only in the query filters. But now if I select that, it also highlights here. Okay. So that's in the query panel. And once you're back in the document, there's some more search features I'm going to show you in the query panel. But before that, let me come back to the document. So in the document, in the main panel where you have the list of document objects. So actually, let me switch to a different report which has many queries. You can see how many queries I have, a lot from different sources, Webby, Excel, text, Universe, Direct SQL. I have different types of data sources and so many queries. Now to look for any object, again, I don't have to scroll through them and dig for them. I can use this search function, search button here, and then this one actually starts reducing the list as soon as you start typing. Okay, so I just typed country. I didn't have to even fully type it. It just brings anything that has CO. And then if I want to look for city, it shows all the queries that has the city object in it. Yeah. This works in any of the view of the queries, okay? Alphabetical order, folders, queries, and cubes. You can switch to either of them and still use it. Okay. This is really helpful because like even this one they introduced in 4.2, or I can't remember if even before that, but this has been very helpful. Okay. Okay. Back to the query panel. If I want to add a universe, add a new query, and let's say I want to search for the universe, in 4.3 Service Pack 3, you have a new option added other than the different data sources called recents. So any data sources in universes or any other type of data sources that you have used recently, they will be listed here. So that's something easy to reach that universe. Or you can just select universe, click OK, and then here you can search for them again. Okay. A lot of environments have really long list of universes, and this is very helpful. I worked on a project where they had like really small universes. So almost every report and set of tables had their own universes. So it was, and they had very similar names. So it was a real pain to just scroll down. So yeah, you can search for them here. But also in 4.3, I think it's added in Service Pack 2 or 3, you have two different types of view, folders and list. So if I switch to list, it's just going to list the name of the universes. But if you switch to folders, they will kind of group them by folders, and then you can navigate through that if you want to. Okay, and you can also search by description. That's another good thing. Okay. So if I type training, I can see these are the universes which I have some kind of training added in my description. So that's very useful as well. I'm going to go back to query panel again. So in the query filters, let me show you. I'm going to add stage in my query. And then in the list of values, you can search for a value. This is really a small list, so you don't really have to search for it. Let me see if I have. Okay, so you can see I have a really big long list of values here. So if I want to search with, say, and type here and search. Okay. And it not only shows the value that starts with CAR, but if CAR is anywhere in the value, it's gonna show up. Let's say this is client name. Let's say I search with John, and it's gonna show up all these names. If I want to specify that this has to be maybe first name, I can say no, sorry, last name, or I can search with, say, there is only first name. So I can change those searches accordingly. What's the document that I had saved? Somehow not updating the document. It's not even doing that one. Okay, I'm gonna close and then reopen. Okay. Okay, that's better. All right. So what I was trying to show here, let's say I look for customer objects, and then I bring the customer name, and then I, in the list of values, if I search for Mark, so I get back all these values. Okay. Now, most of them are there as a first name, but if I want to search particularly, say, I want to filter for where it's only first name, I can do this, and that will kind of filter it, narrow it down. I also have in the settings, I also have the option to match case. So right now, if I want to specify something only by uppercase, I can do that. So I turn that match case to yes. Let's see if I search with marking caps, it's filter for only the list which has MARK in caps. I can filter it further down if I want. If mark is there as a part of surname, I add a comma and it filters further down. Let's try. I think it has. Let me try that. Yep. That didn't work so well with match case though. But yeah, we can always use the matches pattern for wildcard, matches pattern or different pattern for wildcard matching. When you have prompts, yeah, so any kind of prompts, yeah, prompt with list of values, I'm going to go with the list. And then if I run my query, again here, I can search for the values that I'm looking for. Let's say Tom, and then it filters for words, names that has the Tom anywhere in the name. Okay, and you have the same option to match case if you want to. Yeah. Another search function here you have is for the search for prompts. Okay. So let me add a few more. I just added a bunch of prompts here and then show you how it looks when you run. Now I still have a very small list of prompts, but imagine if I have, and I have seen reports where you have 10, 12 prompts. Many of them are sometimes optional. But here, if I'm looking for, do I have a prompt on product, I can type product here. And that narrows down the list of prompts as well for you, which I found very beneficial. Okay. And then you can always reset to show all of them, or just cross that out. This reset all was just for the values. Yeah.
Now with the new search features, are the prompt items still case sensitive?
I mean the name of the prompt or the
Like
values?
you're doing the values for the prompts. It's like right now they're
No, they are case sensitive. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna run this and let me make them optional so that I don't have to know which combination works. Okay. So in the main panel, notice there is a new SAP panel for service pack 3. That's for prompt subpanel. So you see all your prompts listed there, and even there you can make a search. Okay. And that's available in reading mode as well. Okay. So I found that to be pretty sweet that even users can take advantage of that, not just the developers. Yeah. Okay, now let's stay within the document. We have a ton of things that we can search here. I'm going to start with the formula. If you go to the formula editor in 4.3, the latest 4.3, and again, some of these were added in Service Pack 2, some of them in Service Pack 1. So I'm not going to go into details of which one was added in which service pack, but this is how it looks like right now, the formula editor or the variable editor. You can hide the objects panel if you don't need it. You can hide the functions panel if you don't need it, or the operators panel, or you can just show them all. So you have much better control over this view here. Again, under here, if you're looking for a particular object to add to your formula, you can check if country is there. No, it's not there. I don't have country in my, but I do have city. Do I have product in my queries, any of my queries? I do. Functions. This is really helpful. You can definitely go to all, and then you can, one technique to search for a function is you start with all, and you will notice that in 4.3, the all group comes at the very top. So that's something they did very nice. And then you can just type, say, for example, if I type U, it's going to take me to the first function that starts with U. That's pretty neat. You could always do that. But you can also search for it. Say, I want to check how many functions I have related to a document. Okay. How many functions do I have related to report? Okay, sometimes we don't know about the functions that we can take advantage of, but you can just search here and learn about them. Say, filter. Well, now, for example, element linking filters and input control filters, these are very brand new functions that if someone had not told me, I'll never know. But if you search for filter, you will come to know, oh, I have these filters. What do they do? And you can select them, and then you can check the syntax here. You could always do that when you select a function. You can check the syntax, and if you go to need help, you can see more details about that function. Under the operators also, you can do a similar search, say block related. If I have any operators related to block, I can check that. If I start for list or say period, sometimes I know about day period, which is used very often. But if I just make a quick search here, I know, oh, I could do so many other periods and use them in my date time calculations. So this gives you a very easy view to things that you can do and use in your functions and formulas. The other thing, Roxanne was mentioning this, that in the new version, when you start typing for an object name, say product, it actually lists all of them really nicely. You could do this only in certain versions, either in Java or in HTML. I never remembered which one it was. So I ended up always typing everything. But not only that, you can hit it, and then it will nicely add to your formula. Even when you're doing in between, like you have half, like in 4.2, if you have already the square brackets and you then enter, then you have to go back and delete the square brackets. Now it's much neat. So you don't have to do all that. It nicely places that inside. One other thing, it's not exactly a search feature, but it kind of helps you with when you're looking for like operators, syntaxes. Say, I'm just going to give customer region equal to west, then one else 0. Okay. I do have the syntax highlighting turned on here. sorry, this one. So you can see different parts of the formula has different colors. So that is something they have added in one of the versions of 4.3, that quickly from the color you can say, okay, this is an object name, that's an operator, this is a value. And if you don't like that, you can always turn that off. Another thing you can search here is, say, I want to filter for customer region, but I don't know the exact values. So under the operators, you can go to values, and then it will list all of them. And if you have a really long list, you can search for it, say West, and then you can pick them, click OK, and it will add you that. Of course, you have to use the right operator, but notice how it added the double quotes and the semicolon, everything for you. So that's pretty neat. Again, you can use I'm going to use the user response, and then you can, I'm looking for the prompts, the prompt text. In the past, you always had to go back, look for what's the prompt and all that. So now you can go to prompts, and then it lists all your prompts, and then you can just pick the one you want to use. So while this is not something an actual search you're doing, but it helps you kind of look for a lot of things. Yeah. Okay. If you add, when you add input controls, and you have to add an object, you can search for them again here. You don't have to just blindly type in something or scroll through it. You can search there. And the same thing if you're adding any block level or report level filters, you have the option to add filters, see on customer region. You can again do your search and then choose the values you want to select. Okay. Let me switch. Okay, so I have a report with section, and you know how, like it has always been there in when you have sections, you get to see those links as your navigation control. You can also search for them. So if you have a really long list of values, you can search for the one and then navigate to that. Okay. What else?
Like, you can't do this stuff yet.
And then when you're exporting, so you have many tabs and you don't want to export all of your tabs, you can search for the tabs here, report names here. Okay. And I think you have that for all of the versions, Excel, PDF. Yeah. There is a new feature in 4.3 for presentation mode, where you can set up your reports to either auto refresh. You can uncheck auto refresh if you don't want it to auto refresh, but you can go from tab to tab, set it up to go from tab to tab, showing full screen. And then you can pick and choose the tabs that you want to display. So right now I only have opportunity detail tab selected, but I can select both my tabs. And here again, if you have a lot of tabs, you can search for the one that you want to show. So yeah, in case you have not seen this, it just, you can set the time, how many seconds you want them to switch between. And then after that, it switches from tab to tab. Yeah. Okay. And I think that's, oh, the other one. This is change data source. Again, it's not a brand new feature, but many people didn't know about it. When you use the change source function, and I'm just going to randomly select another data source. Next. I'm just going to leave the default selection here. And here as well, when you're replacing objects, you can search for, say, the state. And then it will show you everything that has the date word, but it will also disable the ones that do not match with the type. So you can choose only the ones that's relevant. I think that's all what I had for the Webby within Webby. I don't know how I'm doing with my time. I'll just quickly show you a couple more things in the Launchpad that you can search for related to Webby. So one is you always need to search for documents, right? So if you're going to open from within the application, click on the open button, and then you can search for the document by name or by description or by keywords. Okay, you can do that. The other thing for you to quickly find the report, you can mark the document as favorite. You can do that from within the report once you're in reading mode. You cannot do this from the design mode. Okay, so right now I undid that. But if I mark this as favorite in my home page, under the favorites section, it will show up. It's just a shortcut to the document. It does not create any copy. You can also mark any document from here. Okay, mark as favorite. You can also do this from the folders as well. But the document that you're going to use frequently, I always mark them favorite so that they show up right there and I can quickly access them. You can search when you do a kind of wild search by a name for document. Say you want to search a document that has section. I just typed that and it started listing. So I can either pick one from here, but if it's not one of these, hit enter and it show up over here. Now this search actually includes if your name is also in the description. Okay. Like right now, they all have sections in the name, but you will also find documents if the section is not in the title, but it's in the description, it will show up. And then you can do further filter on that. Okay, I want to look for section documents only within this particular folder. So you can do that. The instant search is very good.
The version, you can see version we're on right now. The version. So the reports have to be indexed in order for that search to work, and we get errors a lot. It's not indexed properly.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. But I'll try to confirm that from someone who knows more admin related thing. If you go to instances in 4.3, the instance view is really improved and really nice. So you can view all your instances here, like based on your access, of course, security and access. Let's say I can change the date here, just go back to a year and then click go. And it shows up more details. It's not specific to just one report. You can see anything and everything that has run here. And then you can further filter by the type of document. You can filter by who scheduled them and the status. You can filter by status. The one thing that I really like, I can see what are the pending reports I have, what are the scheduled reports that are going to run in my system. So I don't have to go to history from an individual document anymore. I can just come here and look for instances and status of multiple reports at the same time. And it has a calendar view, which is pretty cool. Right now, I don't have enough data here that shows up, but if I had, they will all show up nicely here in a calendar view, which is pretty nice. And you have a similar search feature in the inbox as well. I'm not going to go to that anymore. But yeah, those are the things I wanted to show. And the only thing I think, yeah, when you apply rank, you can search for objects like that. The only few places I wish that they also had the search features are like when you go to report structure, if I could search for a block, that would be really nice. The second one, this actually query came from a user once, that can we search for objects in the query panel when we are searching for objects from the universe? Right now we have to search by the name of the object, but they asked if we could search with the description of the objects. But right now it doesn't do that. I also wish they had a search object in the result objects. I know I can search for existing objects in query from the document object within the like in the canvas. But once you're in the query panel, I feel like some queries have really long list of objects. I just want to know whether it's there or not. I don't want to go back to the report to search again. In the formatting panel, sometimes some properties are kind of hidden in sub menus and sub that you have to dig out so much. I wish I could search for name of the property and then it would show up. When you add a break or a sort, I found that you cannot search for the object. You have to pick the object from the list. Yeah, they have the search in the ranking, but not in the filter. In the ranking, they do have, but break and sort, they don't. And then the search report element. If I'm either inserting a new report element or turning into a different one, I have to know which group I have to go to pick the correct chart. I wish I could do that. And the last one, search for object within data assignment, because sometimes you have like not the direct object added in the table, but you have like a formula wrapped around it and it's hard to know. So I wish I could search for that. And that's it.
We turn that wonderful list into SAP so we can get those.
Yeah, we definitely plan to. Yeah. All right.
Very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. If no other question.
Maybe we want the updated version now then.
Yeah, sure. This is SP3, so the latest one that's available. So it's pretty cool.